I want to start this video off by saying that if you click this video because you feel behind in life, don't feel that way. From what I've seen, from the people I've interacted with, from the people I read about, from the people I observe, there's no such thing as feeling content with where you are at any point in life, no matter how old you get. Young people, old people, middle-aged people, they always seem to want more. I think that's part of the human condition, and I think that's perfectly fine. You can see someone who's in fantastic shape, and they will want to be in better shape. You can see someone who's a multimillionaire, who's a billionaire, and those people will still want to be a trillionaire. You can see people with the happiest, healthiest, greatest social circle, the greatest family life, and they'll still want to find ways to optimize it, to have a better social circle, to have a better family life, to have a better network of people around them. So no matter where you are in life, I don't think it's possible to feel 1000% content with where you are. Again, I think that's part of the human condition, and I think that's perfectly fine. Now, with that being said, there are a lot of people that compare themselves to other people, and because they're comparing themselves, they think to themselves, I'm not where I should be in life. You're watching this because you're guilty of this. I'm making this video because I used to be guilty of this. I've known tons of people in my life who are still guilty of this to this day, or who have been guilty of this. Again, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I do want to kind of go into this video and talk about some of my viewpoints on why you should not feel this way and what some solutions or some remedies are to this feeling. Now, if you're new to this channel, if you've never seen me before, you don't know much about me, I've talked about this in numerous podcasts I've been on. I've talked about this in my book. I've talked about this in just different videos I've created on this channel. But years ago, I went to Penn State University and got kicked out twice. Now, when you hear the word kicked out, you might think to yourself, did he do drugs? Did he attack somebody? Was it like some kind of crime that he committed that led to the school dropping him? It was nothing like that. It was actually just tuition. I owed a little bit of tuition money. The school decided that the amount that I owed was too much for them to keep me in school. So they decided that they were just going to send me a very polite letter telling me to leave. So I did. And this happened twice, actually, because the very first time I tried to pay off my tuition, it wasn't enough for them, and they decided that I'd get kicked out a second time, even though I took classes and did very well, and they decided that those classes weren't going to count. Fair enough. But got kicked out a second time. And eventually, when I did finally graduate, I felt so far behind in life. Actually, during that whole process being kicked out twice, it was brutal because mentally I felt so behind in life. I got to see pretty much all of my friends in college, at least friends that I started off in school with as a freshman and sophomore. I got to see all of them go through their classes, graduate on time. Based on social media, based on what I can tell, they all got these very good jobs. They seem to have these very happy families. They're on vacations. They're just living life. Meanwhile, I'm barely in college, struggling to find a way just to get back into classes. I'm working at a gas station. I'm working at a bar. I'm doing like little odd jobs here, trying to work for different startups, make as much money as I can just to get by. And I felt so far behind. I felt literally like a complete loser. When I finally graduated, I kind of started to see a bunch of people's lives in real life. I kind of met up with some of the people that graduated before me, and I realized that most people, first of all, they project online a higher quality image of who they actually are. And I think that's fine. I think you probably watching this, I think if you're watching this, you probably know that deep down, at the very least, that social media and the things you see online, they're not real. Most people just show the best features of themselves online. Most people will not share that they always get into a fight with their spouse or their girlfriend or their boyfriend. Most people will go on vacation and not say that they took out a $5,000 loan for this vacation and now they're in crippling debt and they're super depressed, super overwhelmed, super anxious. Most people will not share those things. And by me sitting there thinking about this a lot, I came to realize that you shouldn't compare yourself too critically with other people around you, whether they're people that you know or people that you don't know. I'm sure you've seen tons of influencers online, people that you don't know that seem to have these super high quality lifestyles, people who seem to be flexing all the time. But then maybe a year later, 5 years later, whatever, you find out that they never had money to begin with. They were always in debt. Maybe they were doing some shady stuff, dealing with like some criminals or who knows what. So the point of this video is do not compare yourself too critically to other people. But I think it goes a bit deeper than that. It's not just about comparing yourself. It's about trying to live the lives of other people. Now, one thing I've come to learn over the years is that because you don't know enough about someone's lifestyle, because you don't know enough about people's lives, there's no point in trying to put yourself into their shoes. From what I've found, the people that seem further ahead of you, if they actually are further ahead of you, had to give up so much to get to that point that you'd sit there and wonder, is the trade-off even worth it? And I'll give you an example of this. I'm sure if you're watching this, you've seen some people out there, someone who is, say, a multimillionaire, who is very young, or at least they're a multimillionaire and they're young for the amount of experience or for the position in life that they currently are. They're super young. And you sit there and think to yourself, man, they're so lucky. I wish I could trade with them. But what you don't see is the behind the scenes. You don't see that that multimillionaire had been trying to become a multimillionaire since he was 8 years old, or 9, or 10, whatever. You don't see that that multimillionaire that looks relatively young probably lost their parents, both of them, their family, their mother and their father in the most brutal, horrible way imaginable. You don't see that. You don't see the social isolation that that 8, 9, or 10-year-old experienced back in their past that compelled them to want to be a multimillionaire in the first place. You don't see the behind the scenes that this multimillionaire that you look up to because you see the flashy lifestyle. You see the Lamborghini, the Ferraris, the vacations, maybe the beautiful women, or maybe the hunky guys. I don't know. It depends on how the girl millionaires live their lives. I'm not too familiar with that. But you don't see that they don't even value those things. They don't even care about the things they're showing to you. They only do it for the sake of marketing. They only do it to get your attention. Meanwhile, deep down, they kind of hate themselves because they're putting on this false reality just to make you believe that they're cool when deep down they don't even find themselves that cool. Does that make sense? The point that I want to make in this video is if you feel behind in life, don't be. I wrote this newsletter maybe a few months ago. The title of this article was, "What game are you playing?" And the reason why I made this article is because I really sat there and thought about something. Because I do this too, don't get me wrong. I compare myself to other people quite frequently. And after kind of sitting there and thinking about why I compare myself and what do I hope to gain from comparing myself, I realized comparing myself too critically is pointless because the game that I want to play is different from the game that other people want to play. You, watching this video, might compare yourself to, say, the young multimillionaire on YouTube. Meanwhile, their life might simply just be about wanting to make money for the sake of making money and nothing else. They might just want to work all the time. Meanwhile, you, deep down, might want to be an artist. You, deep down, might want to be a musician. You, deep down, might just want to travel, the world. You, deep down, you might not necessarily want material things. You might just want to feel the feeling of freedom. That's all fine. This is the life that you want to have. So, since the outcome that you want is so different from the people you're looking at, why are you comparing yourself to them? Does that make sense? And I sat there and thought about this to myself. And I realized that most people I'm comparing myself to, if I really were given the opportunity to trade with them, like trade everything, trade their lifestyle, trade their problems, trade everything, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that at all. Like if you're a dude out there, you probably see some people, and I'm not gonna name any names, but you probably see some influencers that might drive Bugattis. They might surround themselves with beautiful women all the time. Do you really want that? Like genuinely, do you really want that? And I say this because with those luxuries come problems. For everything in life, there's always a trade-off. That's kind of what I've come to learn. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be ambitious. I'm not saying you shouldn't try to achieve anything. But the point that I'm making is, do you really want the lifestyle of the person you're comparing yourself to? At the core of this video, that's kind of the message I want to leave you with. That's the question I want you to ask yourself. Would you really like to compare yourself so much to the point where you'd be willing to trade your life with that person? Because I think if you were to really sit there and analyze things, be honest with yourself, you'd come to find out that the answer is no. You would not want to trade lifestyles with whoever you're admiring. I think I made an article a few years ago too, and it was about Warren Buffett. And I brought up the point that a lot of people say they want to be billionaires, but they don't really think about the work ethic required to be a billionaire. They don't think about the problems that come with being a billionaire. They don't think about the idea that most billionaires, or not most, but a lot of billionaires, might actively have people trying to kidnap them, trying to hurt them, trying to hurt their families, and they might have to hire security at all times and always be on 24/7 watch, hoping that no one comes to antagonize them. Would you want that for your own life? You see celebrities like the Kanye West, the Kim Kardashians, the rappers, the actors, Leonardo DiCaprio. 24/7, it seems like they're always trying to hide from paparazzi. They're trying to be as low key as possible because simple acts like going to the store, going for a walk, hanging out with friends at a nearby restaurant causes so much attention to be drawn to them that it almost defeats the purpose of doing that thing anyway. I remember watching a video, it was Michael Jackson, I think, and Michael Jackson at one point rented out an entire grocery store just to shop. He rented out an entire grocery store and people said, "Why did you do this?" And he said, "Because I'm so popular that if I go outside, people just harass me. I can't go anywhere. I can't walk anywhere. And I want to know what it's like to just go to a grocery store and just be normal for once." So he rents out a grocery store and pays people to be normal just so he can get the feeling of what it's like to be normal. Now think about that for a second. This is a man who has all the money you could possibly ever want, who has probably a lot of the influence most of us would ever want in life. He has status, he has fame, all the things most people want, all the things we compare ourselves to others with the hopes of achieving, he has. And yet it's so burdensome that a basic activity like going to the grocery store, something that most of us probably don't even like doing ourselves, is super valuable for him. He's willing to pay tons of money to keep people from going to the grocery store and to hire actors just to make him feel normal. Would you want that? Would you trade for that lifestyle? If you're sane, chances are, if you're watching this, the answer is probably no. You probably would not trade that. So again, I want to leave you with this question. If you feel behind in life, ask yourself, are you really behind? Ask yourself, what is it that you're trying to get out of life? And the people around you that you're comparing yourself to, do they have those things? If you could trade places with the people around you, would you? Legitimately, not like, oh, I would trade a few things. No. Would you trade everything? Because if you're comparing your life to other people's lives, you have to be willing to trade your life for everything about their lives, all of their problems, all of their concerns, all of the trade-offs they had to make, their entire schedule, everything you have to trade off. Similar to the Warren Buffett example. If you win at Warren Buffett's wealth, would you trade places with Warren Buffett? If you're, say, a 21-year-old watching this, would you be willing to trade your 21-year-old body, your 21-year-old lifestyle for, I don't know how old Warren Buffett is, 85, 86, 90, whatever. His age for yours. You get his money, he gets your money. You guys trade. If you were in his shoes, Warren Buffett would probably say, I'd give up all my money right here and right now just to be 21 years old again, to live a brand new life with all the insights and knowledge I know, or at least just to try it again, just to try to get it again. Even if I fail, I got a second bet. So that's kind of the message I want to leave you with in this video. Let me know if this made sense. Let me know if this helped you or gave you some interesting insights in any way. By the way, please, if you like the video, please click the like button and please subscribe to the channel. My goal in the next few months is to get to 1,000 followers, and I can only do that if you subscribe to the channel, and sharing the video is a bonus if you found the video to be insightful or interesting. But I will see you in the next video. Peace out. Bye.